All right, everyone, here we are with ticker symbol OPEN, Opendoor Technologies Inc., with another video here with Invest for Tomorrow. And to all the first-time viewers and investors, welcome to the channel. And to all the subscribers, welcome back. We're going to try to make this as quick as possible and as brief as we can. Opendoor has been in a downward trend after the peaks of $32 and some change, almost reaching $33, and it has cut off here, which I don't like. What was the history when it was IPOB? So I had to go look at my previous video, and I came across one of the comments that were made and also how I responded. And I did talk a lot in the previous video about the outcomes, how this could react post-merger, to the point that one of the viewers went ahead and asked a very valid question, and this is how I answered. So let's check it out. So stay tuned till the end, because we're going to talk about how this could be a great stock moving forward. But we got to talk about some things, and we want to see also how ARK Invest has been approaching it. So stay tuned for that. So here we are. This was the investor and viewer that went ahead and asked, are we expecting a drop post-merger? And when I was talking in the video, I talked about the different outcomes to have a perfect approach to according to how they came to be, right? So if IPOB merged with Opendoor, the potential that IPOB has once it becomes Opendoor is tremendous, that the biggest discount you could have ever gotten of Opendoor was before the merger. And it's just going to keep on moving, and it's going to be probably one of those stocks where you look at it and you're like, I'm going to wait. And then it went up $5 more. I'm going to wait. All of a sudden, it's $10 plus from pre-merger after post-merger. And the best time to buy was now, whenever you came across it. Your first time coming across it, realizing that there was value. Now, the other approach is, okay, we also want to be on alert and watch carefully some numbers that I had stated in the previous video according to the analysis on if it breaks through these numbers, post-merger, we could start to see this slip away. And not because of anything bad or because the company is terrible and there's no potential and there's no true value, but we tend to see sell-offs after mergers, and here's why. So I had stated back, most mergers tend to have some sell-off after it happens due to the fact that the hype cools off. Now, I did state also, it does not mean that that will be the case for IPOB, but I stated it so that investors are aware of the possible outcomes towards the merger and after. So this is before merger even happening. We don't know where this is going. We don't know how it was going to react, but very, very, very valid question, because of the fact that I emphasized not that we're expecting a drop post-merger, but to prepare and how to rationalize as an investor if there was a slight drop and how much more it could possibly drop once it, broke through a certain support level, which would then indicate, newer lows. And it tends to happen due to the fact of sell-off and the hype cooling off. Now, when we look at this stock's volume, the hype has cooled off tremendously. When we look at the technicals here, right, which I don't usually use these technicals, but I like to show them for investors to have something else to see other than my numbers and what I'm saying, because this uses an algorithm behind the scenes according to the chart. And this is Trading Views technicals. So the 1 day is showing sell, and then when you go to the 1 week, they're all showing buy, and then the 1 month neutral. There's not enough information. So when you think about it, this is going downwards due to the fact of profit taking. This has nothing to do with fear and uncertainty of the company. The company, so far, based off what I've seen, is pretty solid, has a lot of room and potential, but it just went public. It just merged, and there could be a drop, like a very small drop of uncertainty, because nobody knows moving forward how great this company is, right? And it just merged. And if you got in, you got to think as an investor, you got in at $10, $15, $20, and you saw this hit 33, and it starts dipping already and it falls to 28, you might just say, hey, I'm going to cut it here. Let me take my profits. Like any investor, you got to think about it. Like, what's your goal as an investor? Is it to put money in and watch it hit numbers that you'll never, execute an order to sell to take the profits? You just watch it digitally move, like how it's moving here. And then later tomorrow you see it move again and you never execute? No, of course not. You want to execute once you feel comfortable and once you rationalize as an investor where it is that you want to close out that deal and take your profits. So that's probably what happened really fast, and then it continued the catalyst, and there was a lot of investors probably expecting to take their profits pretty fast due to the fact that in just a few days this ran from $20 all the way up to 30 and some change. So fast in just a few days, and that's as fast as it started to go down. So investors were like, hey, this went up real fast. This almost 2x right before the merger or right after the merger, and here we are at a point where I got to get out because I just want to take my profits. And then the uncertainty of moving forward, what is this company really about? It's not all around the nation and so forth. It's in 21 markets, but not everywhere yet. But the fact that you can think about this being in the same ETF, which we're going to talk about in just a moment, that ARK Invest has it in the same ETF as Zillow, and it's in the same sector, and you see how Zillow's performing, there's room for this one. There's definitely room. So let's see here. So IPOB on the 15th of December last year in 2020, or in 2021, and you can see here when it was IPOB, they had 2.8 million shares. The value was tremendous as well, which we're going to go into that in just a moment. Now the value has gone down, but their amount of shares have gone up, right? Look at that. 2.8, 3 million. They've gone up by 180,000 shares, right? Because it's 3,010,000, and here we are seeing 2,831,000. So that's basically 180, or if you want to be exact, 179. 179,000 shares in total in the last 2 weeks. The market value has gone down. Now, in these last 2 weeks, they've only sold once. I came across it by accident because I was talking about Nano Dimensions, how they added it to this portfolio. And from one day to the other, Opendoor went down by about, I think, 10 to 50,000 shares. And after that date, it jumped up to 3 million. So they sold a small portion, very small portion of their total amount and stake, which I kind of found a little bit discouraging, because when ARK Invest sells, they sell for a reason, and when they buy, it's for a strong reason. But when I saw how little amount that was, and the next day they went up and loaded up on shares, it rebalanced my thoughts. Like, okay, it's not too bad. They were probably rebalancing their ETF or taking some cash and using it somewhere else. That's the only thing I can think of. So moving forward, which I look forward to seeing your guys' comments and thoughts on this down below, we're going to track Opendoor and how it does in this ETF. So every time they buy, I will update you guys and keep up with you guys. And the lower this goes, if it was to continue to go lower, and it looks like it might, because it's below the 50-day moving average, and if it can't come back up above it, it could continue to get pushed down by the bulls, not having enough traction, and the bears tearing through this next support. This is probably one of the most support levels and important support levels right now, 2202. If it breaks through that, we will start to see newer lows. But back to the whole ARK Invest making their position and stake larger, I want to see how they react as this continues to go down. And I do want to pay close attention if they sell. If they sell again, it's a small position, rebalancing, unless they go over hundreds of thousands of shares, which I want to watch for. But if they don't, and they're loading up on shares, it's a big deal, because the ARK ETF that this is in is the same as Zillow, which this means this will be up here with these top 15, top 20 stocks of this ETF. They see value here. This moved up from way down here really fast to up here. And when you see how they're purchasing Zillow, they don't own that many of Zillow. They only own 700,000. They're trying to get in early on Ipob, which is now Opendoor, right? As early as they can, to not make the same mistake that they did with Zillow, because Zillow, they've been buying it little by little as they could, because they see more room. And I believe they see that same room and potential moving forward for this company. I see it, like, for it to be in the same ETF. And the ETFs here, these are some top dogs here. Look at the list. Look at the value. It's a big deal. And they're trying to get in early as possible. And the fact that they added nano dimensions here and PLTRs here, I mean, there's potential here in these companies. And when you look through the whole list, they have a lot of value here. This is a big ETF. I mean, pretty big, to the point that when it's called next generation, it's some of the most disruptive companies overall in their sector. All of them. Every single one of them. If you take a look at them, you'll see they've all disrupted how things are done in each of their markets and sectors. Very interesting. But back to the whole point. They've grown their position. They sold a little bit as it was going down in this direction. And then they reamped, right, 170,000 more shares to their total amount. And I want to see if they continue to add to their position. And yes, I was anticipating to be expecting either this type of effect after the merger, or the one I stated earlier, which meant that the cheapest you could have gotten this was before the merger. Those were the two ways to approach this. I talked about it all in my video, but I did want to state to you guys how one of the investors took the time to ask a very valid question. And it's not that was my expectation and the only way this was going to go, but I did talk about it because I wanted investors to be well equipped for that reaction, which we're seeing it here. And I hope you guys took note of that. Those of you that watched it, and if you guys didn't get to watch it, I hope that, my videos, whenever you come across them moving forward, you stay tuned, you subscribe, you hit that like button, and you click on the bell to not miss a single video, and you can be up to date when I talk about these things. Because Ipob, I wasn't really more inclined to, okay, it's going to fall, but I was expecting that as one of the outcomes, and it certainly has turned that way. Now, I do want to tell you guys how I feel about the value of this stock. This stock has 5x to 10x potential moving forward. We just need to see when the reversal will start, because this has been in a big downtrend. The hype has died down as well. That's something else. Volume has died down as well. And we need to see moving forward, how does the company perform and revenue-wise? And do they continue to expand? But this is certainly a long-term play. Now, I'm not here to tell you guys to buy, sell, or hold, but I am here to inform you guys that there is growth potential and there's an opportunity here. You just have to do your due diligence and rationalize on your own findings, right? So I hope you guys found this video helpful and informative. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're a first-time viewer, click that subscribe button. Don't forget to click on the bell to turn on all notifications. Share this with your friends and community so they can receive this insight as well. and hit that like button to let me know you watched this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.